This is Virginia This Morning with Cheryl Miller and Jessica Nall. Welcome to Virginia This Morning.
Thanks so much for joining us here on this Monday for Virginia This Morning. I'm Cheryl Miller.
Good morning to you and welcome back.
Thank you.
I'm Jessica Nall. We start today's show with love on our minds. I was in love with that pasta, but sometimes we have our eye on a special someone for quite some time, but maybe you couldn't muster up the courage to ask them out on a date.
Or maybe you're divorced or widowed and get ready to get back into the dating world, but not quite sure where to start. Well, no worries. Relationship coach and best-selling author Shela Dean is here today with us for some advice. Good morning to you.
Good morning.
We were having an interesting conversation before the show started. Everybody loves to talk about relationships. Let's start with the workplace, because so many people, that's the only place they are. They spend their life at work these days. Office romance is good idea, bad idea?
Well, here's the good news. The studies show that anywhere from 41 to 55%, depending on which study you look at, show that office place romances end in marriage. And so that's the good news. The bad news is it can be really dicey. Dating someone or even being married to someone that you work with, and it can create a lot of problems. So some companies actually have a policy against dating, and so you have to make sure that if you want to date someone that you're working with, that it doesn't affect your job. Maybe worth it, but you want to know that for sure.
Absolutely. Sheila, these days it looks like we go to the internet a lot to meet people, but still it seems kind of detached. What do you recommend for making that personal connection?
Well, if you have someone you have your eye on, whether it's at work or a friend or someone at the cashier at your favorite Starbucks, you need to let them know that you're interested. And of course, one of the most surefire ways of letting them know that is to say, hey, let's get together. But you know, people tend to be a little bit shy, a little bit nervous. They want to kind of stick their toe in the water a little more slowly. So you can, small gestures, compliments, small gifts. If you know someone has a favorite candy or a favorite coffee, you can bring it to them. A flower, but just one. You don't want to overdo it, because overdoing it can be off-putting and frightening to the recipient of your intentions. Compliments. You look great today. Asking about what they're doing, what they're interested in, because that's a great conversation starter. If you say, hey, have you been to any great concerts lately? And they tell you about the concert they've gone to, you can say, you know, I love that kind of music. That would be great for us to get together and go to a concert. So those little gestures, flirting a little bit, just letting them know that you're interested, and then watching for cues back to see if they're interested as well.
There's that old saying that says opposites attract, but I think when people start getting together, they maybe pretend to be something that they aren't, or to pretend to be interested in some things that they're not. Maybe we need to be a little bit more honest to get the right person in our lives.
Well, they say opposites attract but seldom hold. So, you know, you do want to have things in common. You don't have to have everything in common, because one thing about being different is that you learn things from the other person. Your horizons expand. You experience things you might not otherwise experience because of that other person's interest, and likewise you can share your own. But it's a chore sometimes to find out the real truth about somebody, and so you want to give it plenty of time. Yeah.
The opportunity to, once you've developed that relationship, and maybe if the ultimate goal is to get married, how do you keep that relationship alive? Do you have advice after the marriage?
Well, you know, it's interesting you should ask me that, because I'm just now working on a new program called Redate Your Mate. And one of the issues that we have once we get married is, I always have said, dating is to marriage what foreplay is to sex. Is that once you've sealed the deal with the ring on your finger, you tend to go, oh, sigh of relief. That courtship was successful, and so you don't feel like you need to keep courting and keep that emotional seduction going, whereas it's really important to bring the best of dating into your marriage, because you have to remember that marriage is a choice. It's not irrevocable. So if you want that person to continue to want to be with you, you need to continue to do the things that make them want to be with you. So dating after marriage is really important. Good question. Yeah, thank you.
And in that same vein, commitment, because a generation ago, women got married because they had to. They needed someone to take care of them. Women are very independent, and a lot of times men these days don't like an independent woman. They say the woman doesn't need me anymore. So how do we mesh the new ideas of relationship and move forward with a commitment?
Well, people are getting married later in life. Statistics are showing that we're older as we getting married, and the divorce rate actually seems to be coming down a little bit. And what's attributable to that is that we are waiting longer to get married. And but those traditional roles are hard sometimes to shake off. And so you really need to talk it out. I mean, it's really important for spouses, prospective spouses, to really talk about what kind of a lifestyle they want, how they're going to achieve that, and make sure that they're comfortable with each person's role in that.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
My parents have been married 40 years. You said 61.
Yeah.
So it's
It's
definitely
a whole new world.
It is a whole new world. Well, you know, it's only in recent history that we've demanded so much of marriage. In the past, we got married for social, economic, political reasons, and love and passion was somewhere else on the side. But once we gained the right to marry for love, we also began to demand a lot of marriage. We want our sweetheart to be our lover and our friend. We want excitement and spontaneity, but we want reliability and security, and those are competing needs. So that's a real paradox that we need to manage in our relationships.
It's a lot to think about.
Dip
your toe in the water very slowly. Shela Dean, thank you so much for joining us today.
It's been my pleasure.
You're very welcome.
Today feels like it could be a great day to take that special someone on a picnic.
Oh, a little hand holding along
Maybe.
the river, maybe. Carrie?